What's up guys, Main Man Sweet here, hoping you're all doing awesome as always. In this video a lot of people ask me why I quit Dead by Daylight. I used to play it so much, like religiously, for many years actually. I think it was 4 years I played the game before I decided that enough is enough. So I just wanted to explain what made me flush the game. And I'm using some footage of Momo7 here, a very amazing Blight player. Hope he's okay with that, I'm sure he is. But so Dead by Daylight to me is a game that doesn't work as soon as you start taking it seriously. The whole game just crumbles into pieces due to very poor balancing by the developers and very flawed core game design. So in 2016, this game launches and it has a very fun core gameplay loop, with 4 survivors getting chased by Trapper, an M1 killer, and Trapper has to mind game at loops and pallets and windows to catch the pesky survivors. And both sides can like mind game one another. And that's fun. That's like interactive gameplay. Killer has to hide his red stain, you know, and stuff like that. Love that gameplay. It just seems to me that with time, that has been patched out of the game in favor of very nasty maps and killer power creep, where the killers, note that Nurse was added a long time ago, but she's like the poster child of this problem. Like, there is no chase or loop against the strong killers in this game. Like Nurse, or the guy you see here, Blight, even Kaneki, Singularity to a certain extent. What's supposed to be the fun player versus player interaction doesn't exist anymore. If you play this game at beginner and intermediate level, you're in a good place. It's not taken too seriously. Everyone is 50% sweating. Everyone is 50% goofing about. But when you start playing against some of the best players, you'll note that, and they sweat, you know, for real. Nothing wrong with sweating, by the way. You'll start seeing the real DBD, what it looks like when both sides are trying to play efficient. And now it turns into the most unfun experience imaginable. A lot of PvP games do this, you know, the more you sweat, the more awful it is. But none of them come even close to how miserable Dead by Daylight is. Because suddenly, as I told you, you are playing a game where looping doesn't exist. Have you tried looping a good Nurse or a good Blight? Best thing you can hope for is run away from the generators that are worked on, progressed on, or you have a friend on a hook, run away from them to the other side of a map. And then at least you can't be hooked right next to the gen you're working on, etc. Just go, it's like what the good players say about Nurse. You can't win, just go die somewhere else, right? That's not super fun. That's not engaging gameplay. And when you're not being chased by those top tiers, what are you doing as a survivor? You're sitting on a gen with your toolbox and your stakeout and your hyper-focus trying to cheese the gens as quickly as possible. And you're not afraid of a killer. Any form of immersion was lost a million matches ago. So I'm just like, beginner and intermediate, it can be fun, the game. But once you've become a sweat and you understand how poor the balancing is, and you start, you know, running into the good players often who sweat and who play the S tiers and who tunnel, the game just isn't very fun, in my opinion. And if you think about the killer experience, you really understand how much the game sort of pushes you to sweat, because the reality of playing killer against good survivors, and you know, I'm a sweat. There's nothing wrong with sweating. When I play a game, I want to get as good as I possibly can at the game. That's fun to me. I want to play efficient. But it became very clear to me early on about Dead by Daylight and playing killer that, of course you want to tunnel. Because if you don't tunnel, you're choosing the most stressful fucking game plan I've ever seen in a game. Like, oh god, it's like world's most obnoxious and stressful speedrun. I'm gonna chase 4 survivors and hook them 12 times in total. While we're blasting the gens. Oh my god, 12, I gotta win 12 chases! Like, every chase needs to end in 10 seconds, or I lose. Gee, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna do that and lose my mind every match? Or I'm just gonna tunnel one guy? And that's still not super easy, and there's a little bit of stress. But it's so much more chill than trying to win 12 fucking chases. So, but you gotta understand, like, the game sort of incentivizes to play in the most unfun way possible. Because that's how poor the balancing is in this game. And again, the community is kind of whiny. There's nothing immoral about tunneling, okay? It's a strategy in a video game, for God's sakes. And if we're gonna be real, it's the most predictable strategy in the game. So every time you load into the match, you should be ready for it, and you should have some bullshit perks like Shoulder the Burden or DS off a record, whatever is meta now. And never ever play solo queue, by the way. Just get some friends, for God's sakes. A solo queue is just misery. But so, yeah, killer experience as well. It's not very fun. You know, the balancing is like, if you play a killer is like low tier, mid tier, you have no chance against a strong survivor team. So you want to play a broken killer, like Blight, Kaneki, etc. And then you use the sweatiest possible build, like Pain Res, DMS, Corrupt, Eruption, Pop, you know, that sort of stuff. And suddenly the survivors can't even touch generators. And it's just, it's so mind-numbingly boring. It's just so boring. By the end of my run with the game, I was constantly against like Blight, Kaneki, Nurse, and we all have the same build over and over and over. Another Pain Res DMS, another Pain Res DMS. And there are no chases. You just go down in a second, and you're just sitting on gens. And it's just so excruciatingly boring. And you remember the good old days where you would encounter, you know, Bubba's, you would encounter Michael Myers, Demogorgon, and it felt fun. Engaging gameplay on both sides. But now I feel like playing Survive is just sit on a gen until it's your time to be chased and then get downed in half a second because the killers are so broken. But again, that's what it looks like in high-MMR. But also the killer experience is not fun either. Tunnel someone because all 4 of them are sitting on Gen Rush loadouts. And they're not afraid of you. They'll just sit on the gens. You can't lose a single chase, basically. You're gonna get blown up in a second. But what I also don't like is that the game sort of... it's almost manipulative in how it doesn't ever show you what you're going up against. When you're playing Killer and you see a lobby of survivors, you have no clue how good they are because there are no ranks. And the MMR is has a very... I think high-MMR, I think I read that statistically behavior said that it's the top 15% of a player base. So once you're in the top 15%, you can run into anything. You can one match play against someone who's top 15%, but suddenly you can play against a killer who's like Momo 0.01%. So you can run into someone who's like top 15% isn't that impressive. So you can run into one match someone who's pretty chill, and then the next match, oh, best Blight in the world. Does that make sense to anyone? And there's no way of knowing this. You don't know what you're going up against because Momo has no visible rank displayed in the lobby, and neither do any of the survivors. You don't know if you're going up against like top 0.1% survivors or top 15% survivors. You have no clue. Am I the only one who hates this about Dead by Daylight? That there isn't really, really good MMR matchmaking so that top 1% plays against top 1% specifically? and that I can see a badge or a rank on a survivor. Like, that guy is bronze. Oh, he's not very good. Oh, that guy is platinum. He's super goated. Just so I know what I'm going up against, and I can mentally prepare for it. And I can also decide to use a chill build if I see a lot of bronze ranks. Or if I see a lot of gold ranks or platinum, I know, oh my god, okay, I'm going up against super good survivors. So now I'll use the sweatiest build possible. How come this competitive game doesn't have that? And please, even though the game is super poorly designed and balanced, it is absolutely a competitive game. A lot of people think, oh, it's just a party game. It's like, no, it's literally player versus player. One team against another team. Like, of course it's a competitive game, and everyone treats it like a competitive game. DBD players are some of the sweatiest, you know, in terms of gaming communities. So yeah, outside of an unbelievably poor killer balancing where Skull Merchant and Trapper, they're in the same game as Blight and Nurse. They might as well be in different games. They are, you know, 97 country miles apart in terms of strength. It's a joke, the balancing. And then in terms of survivors, we have some of the craziest stuff these days. The Gen Rush perks are insane. Shoulder the Burden is probably the strongest perk in the game, considering it completely counters tunneling. It especially has value against Blight and Nurse, because as you unhook with that and absorb the hook state, you know how you go you scream and you go exposed? That, an M1 killer, of course, can down you there. But these guys, like Nurse and Blight, they down with a special attack. His Rush and her Blink, so they don't take advantage of the exposed state. So I do think Shoulder the Burden is just an insane perk. But so I don't know if you agree with me, but with everything I've said here, I've tried to explain to you that Dead by Daylight is fun when you're new to the game, or you're an intermediate, you've played it some time, you're not that good, there's still a lot of things you don't understand. But once you get really good at the game, in my opinion, it has the strategic depth of a piece of paper or a puddle. You will play Blight Nurse, you will use these exact perks, and you will tunnel. And the survivors will sit on gens, and then, oh, I'm chased, dying corner, and use Shoulder the Burden, DS, etc. Because that's the stuff that's viable at the highest level of play, and it's like nothing else. And it's, I don't know, it's just not fun for anyone, I think. And I think it's just a huge flaw of the game. But I assume they're working to make the game better, you know, for everyone, but they completely have to remake this game almost to make it good. And you know, this is just me talking about core gameplay and balancing. It's like the amount of bugs this game has, I've never seen anything like it. And with the terrible graphics, long load times, takes 2 minutes to start up, boot the game. Again, no ranks, no MMR, no visible MMR, right? And it's just, it's not really any game modes. It's so bare bones. It's so bare bones, but at the same time, my god, it's so fun. You and a couple of friends against a trapper on a Macmillan, right? Suffocation pit, and you're all just having fun. But that game is long gone after so many patches, and with the community getting better and sweatier. So yeah, I guess that's what I wanted to say regarding DBD. It's a shame. Really like this game. But yeah, when you get good at the game, in my opinion, it stops being fun. But for those of you who still have fun with the game, I'm super happy for you guys. But yeah, not for me. So thanks for listening to me and have a great day. Take care.